Everyone, from me, Brent Graham, and welcome to the first edition of the Handicap for 2026. Can you believe it? I reckon the show's been going about 8 years now. It is quite a while. We've taken a nice break. I've come back fairly refreshed. Been betting very, very small, limited success earlier in the year, and then came back quite strong last year. Well, who we got in the studio? None other than the Admiral. He's just come off a skiing holiday. And Admiral, good to see you, man. Great to be young and free like you, I can tell you. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks very much, Brent. Yeah, it is, isn't it? But you're back into college now and back into the domestic rugby, and of course, for us people up north, we've got the Six Nations in 2 weeks' time, which I'm always looking forward to. But yeah, no, some good rugby this week. There's a couple of derbies actually. I know Leinster are off to go. I play Connacht, which I'm looking forward to. But yeah, should be some good rugby this week.
Excellent. We're looking forward to it. I must say. Overall, I battled with the Champions Cup. I had a good final round, but if I look back on the weeks before that, I did battle. But you'll notice I've got Nathan's background here as well. I'll certainly be getting in contact with him and see if he wants to join us when comes Six Nations and Super Rugby. Enough about the Six Nations, but I was just getting a little bit like despondent at the lack of international rugby, and the thought of Six Nations coming again is absolutely brilliant. Well, it looks like it's you and me. Oracle did say earlier in the week he wanted to come on, but I know he's got a mate out from overseas. And if I know Oracle, that means he might already be either asleep or he's well into party. So I sent him the link. If he pops in, we'll see. But otherwise, I think it's going to be a shorter show than normal. I'm going to get us cracking.
Yeah.
I see we've got, and this disappoints me, 3 games kicking off at the same time on Friday night. And to me, that is, I don't understand the logic of that one little bit. Even play an earlier game at 7. I mean, I know the overseas games, maybe that's too early for people to get to the game, but for goodness sake, or spread them out over the weekend. There's no Sunday games or anything like that.
Yeah,
so disappointing. I must say, you must also think that, I mean, as a punter, you want to really be able to focus on one game on a time.
Yeah, 100%. And like often say if I'm going to a game on Friday night, you obviously can't. You have no chance of watching the other 2 games. And I'm sure there is some reason, but they just don't play on the Sundays in URC. Rarely, maybe a couple times a year. But you see in France, almost their showpiece game of the weekend is 8 or 9 o'clock on a Sunday night, and they get a huge audience. They put a good game on. It's Toulouse Bordeaux or something like that. That's the Premiership do it as well, 3 o'clock. So yeah, I don't understand why we can't do it in the URC. But that's rugby, isn't it? It's never known for being the best rugby sport.
Yeah, I was going to say, absolutely baffles the mind. Right, let's get into the first game that I've got up here. Ospreys -3.5 against the Lions. And points 42.5. Now, Con, I'm about to sort of update the blog tonight with all the weather forecasts, but I'm guessing the weather forecast is very poor for this one, because that is a low points line.
Yeah, the weather is terrible up here. It's been raining, I think, since Tuesday or Wednesday in Dublin. It's not raining at the moment, but it's pretty much meant to rain for a week without too much stopping.
Okay.
And I mean, I can see Wales from some places in Dublin. So if the weather's bad in Dublin, it's going to be bad in Wales. So yeah, the points line, I'll have a better look at it tomorrow, but it could be drizzling or it could be absolutely lashing down. You won't really know until you get closer to the game. So if it is absolutely buckling down, that 42 is definitely a play for unders. But as far as the cap goes, I do fancy it, and it's good job Argyle is in here because it's on the Ospreys. It's not as much back in the Ospreys. I'm just not fully sure why the Lions are why they've been given a good chance to win a game in Europe. I mean, the URC, you obviously have home and away games, but for URC, you kind of have, I think you have home games, you have away games on the continent where you're from, and you have away games in the other one. So be it in South Africa for us or in Europe for you guys. I mean, so the Lions had 2 good away performances, but they were against the Stormers. They covered well and they beat the Sharks. But again, you're playing in Cape Town and Durban. When they come up to Europe, they're pretty bad. I mean, they haven't won, I think, in 11 or 12 games. It was October 24 the last time they won in Europe, and that was Zebre and the Dragons they beat. And since then, they've played everybody. They've lost to everybody, and they've only covered the -2-1, so the -3, which was again against Zebre. So I don't really know what's changed in the last month or two to suggest the Lions are suddenly going to start, getting results in Europe. Then they have a full team out. That is something. They don't always. They have the full 23 out. But as do the Ospreys, really. The bench is a bit weak for the Ospreys, but nothing to be too worried about. So yeah, the points, I'll come back to you tomorrow evening. But I like Ospreys -3. I think there is -2 out there as well, which I think is a pretty good price. So yeah, I've taken the -2.
Ospreys, yeah, the points, I must say, it is one of those points lines where unless it's absolutely bucketing down, I'd probably find myself tempted by the overs. Is it a synthetic pitch, the Ospreys? It is, eh?
They're not playing in Swansea. They're playing in Bridgend. It's Brewery Field. I actually don't know. It's a smaller stadium. It's a bit more of it's the local club stadium. So I would guess maybe not. It wouldn't be as good as, say, I don't know, the pitches in Twickenham or the Viva Stadium or anything like that. So yeah, it could get cut up. I actually don't know though.
Excellent. Well, let's welcome the boys in the live chat. And starting off with JP Deploy, let it, the record show, JP, first person to comment in 2026. Welcome. And then Fareed, of course, a regular on the show and a regular commenter as well. Fareed, wishing you all the best for the new year. Wishing all of you punters all of the best for the new year. So I'll be having a look potentially at the points line when I'll be updating the URC blog on the Good for the Game website and posting my picks there. Hopefully following on from last week, which was a pretty damn decent one. Right, let's move on to a game that is kicking off at exactly the same time. There's been a little bit of money, well, there's been a little bit of action in this game. Edinburgh actually started off very slight favourites, if I saw it. And at one stage went +2.5 on BetExchange. I see they're back into +1.5. And once again, a points line here really low at 42.5, indicating some very poor weather expected. What have you got for us here, Admiral?
Yeah, if the weather is bad in Ireland and Wales, it's worse in Edinburgh. Edinburgh is very cold. It's very far north, Edinburgh. Like it's cold, and I think it's on the sea or the river, whatever it is, and it's quite high up. So yeah, that 42. If there's bad weather, yeah, I think that 42 could definitely be a play for unders. As far as the cap goes, yeah, it has kicked around a bit, sort of between, a 50-50 game. And I saw Bulls -3 as well one stage. I'm on Edinburgh here. They went to Bath last week and they named a weakened team, and they released an injury list, and the injury list was longer than the team sheet. It was a huge injury list. I'm not sure they were being fully honest on that injury list with some of the players. Some of them have made a miraculous recovery this week. Maybe they weren't. I don't know. I'm sure some of them were, but I think it was a case of we're probably not going to beat Bath away. We have a home game next week. It don't seem like an excuse to take a hammering at Bath. But they have the full team back, and this is the full 23. I mean, I think maybe one of the second rows is not the full choice, but it's pretty much as good as an Edinburgh team as you'd see. The Bulls obviously won last week away at Pau, and they were good, especially in that scrum as usual. They dominated them. But Poe let it slip, I think, a little bit. I was on -9, which was never going to be a runner after about 50 or 60 minutes, but I think they managed it so poorly. Even at the end, they were on the 5-meter line and they had no interest in taking a drop goal. It just looked like a team who were a little bit poorly coached or inexperienced. The Bulls, kind of like the Lions, haven't shown a huge amount away from home to sort of suggest that they're likely to win. They're 2 out of 7 in their away games this year. One obviously last week, and then earlier on the year against Connacht, I think they won by a point. They weren't particularly good. And the week before that, they got smashed by Ulster. And Edinburgh have a good home record. Like Edinburgh turned over some proper teams here. Like they beat Glasgow last Christmas. They gave Toulon a proper beating about 2 months ago or a month ago. And they've beaten the Bulls twice recently, or once or twice recently. And that was the Bulls team who were the Bulls of last season, who were, I think, a much better team than this Bulls. So yeah, I like Edinburgh here. It wouldn't be as strong as the Ospreys, but yeah, I like them. But you can get 2.1 even. I think that's a pretty good price. And again, I'll have a look at the unders tomorrow.
Who took Cleaver coming in saying Edinburgh and Ospreys for the wins. Highveld teams don't like the UK weather when it is going to be exactly that. Fareed reckons Edinburgh there on the 1 to 7. Yeah, I was actually on the Bulls last week. I had them at 4 to 1. So that was a good win for me. I just I just felt that Power might not, although I just felt that I wasn't 100% sure what their motivation would be like, and I figured the Bulls were pretty much desperate. But yeah, I'm with you there. It's hard to see the Bulls sort of reproducing, and Edinburgh perhaps been a bit underestimated. Just looking at the log, this is a crucial game really for both teams. I mean, we're pretty much past midway, we're pretty close to midway or past midway in the season now, and I mean, these sides are sitting 10th and 11th, a point separating them. So this is an absolutely crucial match. And I was going to suggest perhaps 42.5. Is that a bit low? But from what you're telling me about the weather, as you say, it might well be that
it looks pretty shit. If it's not, though, I mean, that 42 is a great number.
Exactly. You've just got to try and find out just before the bookies do on those. Well, we've got another game on Friday night. It's a Munster up against the Dragons. Gee, Munster last week, what were they? Minus 20.5 against Cast, I think.
Yeah.
Beaten, man. And Cast did it last year against Saracens. I think they were 30-point underdogs, and it's the same thing. Huge, it's unbelievable. One of those French teams, you just are not as bad on the road as you think. It's not to change the stupid setting. I've still got the set. Let me just edit the setting. It's got the default is I've got to physically change each one. You know, sometimes people change things for the worse, and that's definitely the case with this. So it's Munster minus 17.5 against the Dragons, and points line here 47.5. Admiral.
Yeah, they were. I mean, Castres were really good last week, and crucially they were pretty much 100% off the tee, which was kind of the difference in the end. Munster, I think, were 2 for 5 or something, which sort of ultimately lost them the game. But yeah, I mean, Munster they've lost 4 in a row now. They lost to Ulster, they lost to us, Leinster lost to obviously Castres and Toulon the week before. So I mean, 4-game losing streak for Munster is even though they haven't been as good as maybe they were 2 decades ago, but that's unusual for them. The Dragons, meanwhile, they're actually 4 out of 6, which is even more unusual for them. They went a year without winning a game and then have reeled off 4 wins recently. So Munster, I'm not sure if is this the general trend with the Irish teams, or is it because they have to rest, but they haven't got a full team out. They're missing the big names, essentially, the big Irish names anyway. So yeah, they're much weakened. They've one debut in the back row. Meanwhile, the Dragons are full strength here. Again, pretty much 23 out of 23, and the team in pretty good form. I kind of like the Dragons here. It wouldn't be a big bet, considering in this sort of good run they've had. They've all been at home games, and they haven't really put in a good performance outside of Wales, to be honest. They've had good games in the Welsh derbies away from home, but not this. But I'm not sure. Like we're halfway into the season. I don't know. Are Munster good enough to cover 17 against anybody, especially a first strength team with a good pack? And it'll probably be again in bad weather. So yeah, I'm on the plus 19 here. I would have a look at that points line though. The Munster points line will be about 32 or 33. I mean, they're probably not going to do that.
32.5. I've got 32.5. Yeah.
32. Yeah. I mean, they'll be looking for tries, and as we've seen, they're not particularly good off the tee. So you're looking for 5 or 6 tries there to cover that. And they haven't. I think they scored 34 points in week 1, and since then they've been under that every single time. So nothing strong here, but I do like the Dragons a little bit on the plus or Munster unders.
Right, well, that's the third game on Friday night. Probably the one I'll be paying the least attention to. Obviously, I'll be focusing on the Lions and the Bulls game. Let's move on to Saturday's action then. This is a 5 o'clock kickoff South African time. And we got Scarlets up against Ulster. We don't have points lines on these, and I imagine we don't have teams on many of these games. I know the Sharks, for example, have released their team, but they always come out a bit early. Scarlets plus 7.5 against Ulster, who have impressed me at times this season. In fact, both of these sides have impressed me a bit.
Yeah, Ulster have been very good, particularly at home, which is to be expected. They've had some good away results. They beat the Sharks early on in the year. They got a win against Connacht on the 26th of December. If the Munster team has anything to go off, Ulster won't have their internationals here. And I think they have 7 players in the Irish squad. If they don't, if they're playing a sort of a B team and the Scarlets play their first team. I think the Scarlets will cover, and to be honest, I think they have a pretty good chance of winning. I capped this game at 4, sort of. I almost kind of assuming full strength for both sides. So I do kind of fancy the Scarlets here. There is, again, meant to be rain. And you would say the rain normally does help the plus because there's just going to be fewer points scored. So it's harder to win by a big margin. I do think the rain kind of favors Ulster here. It favors Ulster and the plus, which is kind of knocking heads with each other. But Ulster have a very good pack and a 10 who can really kick his points. So it's hard to know will that rain sort of who that helps. But yeah, I think if you can get a full strength Scarlets against a weakened Ulster, I think you could have a go at the plus and the money line. And even if Ulster name a full strength team, I'd wait, and you might get a point or two out. You might get +8 or +9, and then yeah, I think the Scarlets will have a good go at Ulster here.
Right. Okay. I like that strategy there on that one. I was saying I must have watched a couple of the Scarlets games where they play quite well because I was looking at the log while I just said they haven't done too bad, and I see they absolutely
they started very
poorly. Bottom of the log there. Farid is saying caps too high. He likes Ulster on a 1 to 7. Now, Farid, I know you like your 1 to 7s and that, and I think this could be the weekend as well for your 1 to 7s and your 1 to 12s. In other words, with the conditions being a bit of a making runaway victories perhaps a little bit less unlikely, there could be some tight games here. At least that's what I reckon. Now we got the Irish derby, Connacht +7.5 against Leinster. Talk to me. How far away if you were to travel as an away fan to this game? How far away would you have to go, Connor?
Not very far. It's probably 2 hours on the train, 37 hours in the car. Yeah, I mean it's not a big country, so it's you're never really more than 3 hours away from anything.
Right.
So yeah, it is sold out. Connacht are actually opening a big new stand. They've been developing it for ages, and so this is a sellout. I don't know exactly how many, but it'll be sold out and it'll be tight to the pitch, and Connacht will make a lot of noise. And this is quite a big game for them, because they've had this stand ready for a bit of time now, but they've chosen this game to sort of to have the big the grand opening, and I think they will give Leinster a proper go here. Again, teams are always important, and particularly with Leinster, because you can have the Irish team playing, and then you could have a lot of academy players playing. So there's a big range of possibilities with the Leinster team sheet. If they go full strength versus full strength, I would probably fancy Leinster, but I don't think they will go full strength. Leinster in general, like this season, if you logged on Monday morning and just betted against Leinster, you would be up quite a bit of money at this stage of the season. Because you can see from the outrights, I think Leinster are grossly overrated in the outrights, and that's sort of translating into the bookies' caps. But what they have been good at is, if you back Leinster at about 40 or 50 minutes so far this year, you will be up money, because they've gotten themselves into bad situations. I mean, last week they were down 10 or something against Leicester. This happened. There'll be other instances, but they've essentially gotten themselves into a bit of a hole, and they've managed to dig themselves out of it and win ugly, but they win. So I wouldn't be surprised if that happens again here, that Connacht might get a bit of a fast start with the crowd behind them. But if Leinster have a decent team, it doesn't need to be the full strength team. I think this could be one where they go down by 5, maybe up to 10, and you can get a pretty good price on Leinster's money line. I think they will win from there. Again, there'll be rain here. It's always pretty wet and windy out in Galway. So I would expect a low points line. And just in general, Leinster are a team to back against, but they're also an unders team. Because in general, they sort of control the game a little bit. They control the territory, and they in general control the ball, and they do very little with the ball. I mean, they sort of start stalling when they get into 22, but they defend very well. So they're a perfect team to back unders for. You're going to get bad weather here. It's an interpro, so that the derby naturally sort of gives you a lower scoring game. So the cap, I don't know. It'll depend on the team news tomorrow, but I do like an unders play and possibly a Leinster to win after 40, 50 minutes.
Right. Yeah, and perhaps, as you say, unders, depending on what the points line is. I'm just reading while I'm talking to you. Shane is offering to come on the show, but Shane, I'll share something with you now. For some reason, I'll quickly pull this up. I can't send the link through. I can't actually access my messages through X at the moment. So if you look bottom right on my screen, it's asking me for a passcode, and I've absolutely no idea what that passcode is. So unfortunately, I can't send the link. I'll tell you what I will do, Shane. I will post the link in the chat. I think you should be able to come in then through the chat. So let me just quickly try that, and we can get Shane on for the balance of the show. Just want to actually find the link now. Sorry, Connor, just want to get this, and I want to put it in the live chat. And Shane, if you can access it through the live chat, you're more than welcome to join us there. Right, let's go to the next game. It's a South African derby. We got the Stormers minus 10.5 against the Sharks. Stormers got the win they needed last week to ultimately finish third in their Champions Cup group. Sharks showing signs every now and again of revival, but I don't know, Connor, it's still hard to have any faith in them. What are your views on this one?
Yeah, I was sort of having a look through sort of my sort of whatever bet history. I'm terrible at South African derbies. I don't know what it is. I just can't call them right. And I capped this at 9. We've seen the Sharks team. The starting 15 is okay, but the bench is very good. How are you?
Shane, how are you?
Sorry to cut across the Admiral. I'm getting like double screens.
Yeah, I think that's normal. I see that too.
You know what it is? On YouTube now, you can actually, I think you can minimize it in the studio. Okay. So there's it looks like a little cell phone, and then you can cut out one of the screens, because what it does, it's some technology now that if you're watching on your cell phone, it looks one way, and if you're watching on YouTube, it looks other. But I'm going to come and say properly hello to you in a sec, Shane. I'll let Connor finish up on the Stormers Sharks. He was telling us about his proud record in South African derbies.
Yeah, well, I'll keep it short. I have it -9, and I never get this right, so I'm just going to stay out of it. And I mean, yeah, maybe if they give me an interesting point, then I'll get involved. But I'll probably just watch it, because whatever I do will be wrong. So yeah, maybe Shane has a fancy. I'll let him at it. Or no, he's gone now. Never mind.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, Shane. We'll wait for you. I didn't knock you off the studio. I promise you. I was about to actually go and click you. Oh yeah, he's come back. Oracle's Forgotten Son. And Shane, you with us now?
Yeah. Sorry, no, I was getting a double sort of lag with the sort of the box on the side, but I muted that one, so hopefully I'm just getting the feedback now on just the main picture now, so we should be good anyway to go. Yeah, no, not too bad. I had an owl swing at the T20 down in the Pearl Royals of that's down your neck of the woods, I think, is it?
Yes, it's about 60 k's from me in Pretoria. It's near Loftus, actually. It's in Centurion. It's not far from Loftus where the Bulls play. And I stopped watching, but I assume they wrapped that game up fairly comfortably, eh?
Yeah, well, they made over 200 in the first innings, so I had a few pennies on it, so that worked out well. But the weather, like Admiral's probably been saying too, the weather's been so poor here. Even to see summer on your television in sport is fantastic. It's great. And what else? My birthday was last Sunday. And I think you also had a birthday to celebrate, Brent, did you?
My son turned 21.
Yeah, so I turned 47.
Wow, okay.
So, yeah.
The
other end of the handicap, but that's...
Yes. And, well, you're joining us in time for the South African derby, and I'll get your thoughts if there's anything else you fancy on the card at the end, Shane. But the Stormers against the Sharks, you got any leans here?
Oh, no, I couldn't. That I'd be in a fish barrel there. So I know I'll pass on that one.
Right, well, Johan Esterhuizen will give us a treble, no doubt, at the end of the show as well. And Johan, Happy New Year to you. it sounds a bit strange to be saying it in Jan, but I guess it is our first. I mean, in sort of past the 20th of Jan, but it is our first show of the year. Sharks plus or Stormers 1-12. Yeah, I'm looking at something similar. I think in this game, maybe the Stormers 1-12 just get up for the win. Right, next game is Cardiff up against Benetton. Here we got Cardiff -7.5 against Benetton. And Shane, have you had a look at this one? I mean, we haven't got a points line, but I'm assuming the weather will be as miserable here as everywhere else this weekend.
Yeah, and they play on an Astro 3G pitch, don't they? There, but it's again,
yeah.
That's like, how much do you factor that into your betting in terms of surface versus grass? I know. I think even with bad weather, it only mitigates it by a fraction, really, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, I'm going to ask Connor to come in afterwards as well. But the way I look at it is, I mean, if it's pouring with rain, it's still going to be difficult conditions. But
yeah,
and if it's been raining in the morning, for example, on a grass pitch, and it's rained really heavily, conditions are going to be heavy underfoot. It's going to be hard to play. Whereas I feel with the Astro or with the artificial pitches, it has to almost rain in the game for the conditions to be really bad. That's kind of how I view it. Connor, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. And trust, even the grass, like up here in Ireland and the UK, the grass pitches aren't really grass in the professional level. They're all sort of synthetic grass, or whatever you want to call it. So I think the only ones who have grass pitches really are South Africa, because I mean it doesn't really rain for you guys too much. So there's no real point in spending all that money on a synthetic pitch. So yeah, I don't really think of the pitch too much, because they're all pretty good at this level nowadays. There's no real like mud baths anymore.
But my general feeling is this whole card is we're sandwiched in teams making drastic changes with the Six Nations coming up, and you have to factor in how far are these players going to be pushing it to 80 minutes in these matches. I think if the result is fairly much in the bag by 65, you'll be looking at bench changes, etc., and teams pulling off. I generally feel this weekend is about taking teams on the plus. I don't know what you guys feel yourselves. I know that's a bit broad.
I think I'm mostly on pluses so far, funny enough.
Yeah, aside from the Ospreys, I know you were on the Ospreys, I know, which is a minus, but generally on the pluses, Edinburgh.
Yeah.
So it is. And I'm thinking tight games.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a trappy weekend, really, to be playing with just the way the time is situated now, you know. So I will say hesitantly I would go with Benetton on the plus, but you could never really rely on them at home. They looked so good against Ulster earlier on in the season, away for a fair bit of that match, and then just stupid decisions, either a yellow card or something, and then Ulster blew them away by 16 or so. Is that correct, I think?
Yeah.
So I remember having a bet on that. Close. And I was on Benetton on the plus, and then I thought I was like yourself, Admiral, in a great spot for up to about 60, and then just idiot mistakes and your bet was gone. And so they're Spursy in rugby term or soccer terms, and you can't put your house on this team. And with Cardiff, again they're a bit iffy as well, aren't they? Really. It's again a game you can probably do without having a bet on, I would say.
It'll be funny now if that just cues the Admiral to come in with his best bet of the weekend. Admiral, but I'm guessing that's probably not going to be the case.
No, definitely not. Benetton, like Shane was saying, their away form at the start of the year, they pretty much got off the plane and they wanted to leave immediately. Like they had some shocking results away from home. But the last 3 weeks they've had good ones, and that's because they've played full strength teams, and they've been bothered to try essentially for 80 minutes, and it's meant something for them to win. There's been whatever it was an Italian derby where they needed to win last week for seeding. I wouldn't be surprised if they send a half-strength team over here and they play a half-hour's game of rugby and get spanked by a Cardiff team who are decent at home. So like if you see an AB sort of a mixed team for Benetton, I wouldn't be surprised to see Cardiff smash them, even in bad weather, especially if Cardiff are a full team. But if they bring their firsts, I think 7 is about right.
So it's certainly a game. Either follow Shane's route and don't really get involved in this one, or wait for team news and see what sort of team Benetton are sending over. Right, Connor, we'll stick with you then. Zebra plus 10.5 against Glasgow. Zebra at home. Now they always seem to start the season quite strong and give you hope, and then disappoint. Glasgow, of course, very strong. But imagine maybe Glasgow might also perhaps not sending a full strength team. What's your thinking, Connor?
Yeah, just before the game, I will say the draw for the Heineken Cup or Champions Cup, whatever you call it, that's out, and so the path to the final is out. And I think Glasgow are still 14-1, and I think that's nonsense, to be honest. I think that's a great price. Because they have a home route to the final. It's going to be, their round of 16 game isn't particularly difficult, I don't think. And then I think the quarterfinals will be against Toulon, who are good, and then the semis against Leinster. But I'd make them favourites in all of those games, even against Leinster.
At home, which they would be, keep winning. Yeah, okay. And so, where's the final? Where's the final?
It is in Bilbao, in Spain.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
No, I agree with you. I think Leinster are fades deeper in this competition. I think they could be beaten in the quarters.
They have a very easy quarterfinals. I think they'll probably they're lucky. They have pretty easy games, and in the semi-final, I think they will lose.
Right.
And even if Glasgow lose the final, you're still getting sort of, with that each way, you're getting 3 or 4-1 for them to win 3 games in which they're favourites. I think that's good value.
Shout. Yeah,
but I wouldn't be expecting to see the team playing in the semi-final playing this week. They've played a lot of games, Glasgow, and big games. I think out of the last 7 games, they've played 6 full-strength teams. So they've had Edinburgh twice, Toulouse, Saracens last week, and then Clermont away. They wanted to win. We could see a really, really weak team, and I'm sure the Scots will be looking for a bit of rest for the Six Nations from their big players. So I think you could even see a C team here from Glasgow or something like that. And if you see a really weak Glasgow team Zebra have no reason not to give this a lash. They don't have too many internationals, obviously. I would be surprised to see a very poor Glasgow team and a relatively good Zebra team. And I would probably fancy Zebra and the +10. And again, if it's a really, really bad team, you're going to get 3-1 on Zebra, and they have won home games before against decent opposition. Now that being said, if there's an anyway decent Glasgow team, I'd stay away from it. But I think Zebra might be back here, but I don't know yet.
Shane, what do you think?
I'm neutral, to be honest. I haven't seen enough of Zebra on television to make a sort of a formative view of them. So I'll skip this one as well. Really, I think that also because we used to get a lot of free tier games over here in Ireland now, and now they've all been taken up by an Irish digital channel called Premier Sports. So there's less games to view just for free anymore, unfortunately. So I'm not seeing as much. I don't know about you, Admiral. Are you watching everything?
I watch them. I don't. I'm sure I can say on the internet that there's plenty of streaming sites which may not be legal, but you can watch them there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Well, that actually brings us to the end. So what I want to ask you, Shane, I'm not going to bring up each individual game, but I want to say to you, the games that you missed while we were looking to get you in the studio there were 5 games. Tell me which ones you fancy something on, and then.
I usually like the old sort of Leinster 1-12 away against Connacht normally. I think the line is 7.5. I don't know. I think Connacht can try and raise their game very much against Leinster, and they have in the past. They are slightly unreliable this season overall, is my general view. What do you think? I think they defensively are not as strong as they have been previously. Their scoring power isn't as strong as previous years as well. Yeah, I think Leinster should win that, but whether they want to run up a score is debatable. So I would probably go 1-12. I wouldn't be massively interested in 7.5 either, though.
And any of the other games that you weren't on cover? I'll run through them and you could tell me if you fancy
Yeah.
them. Ospreys, Lions.
I wouldn't know enough about that one. What have we got? 3.5. I would take Lions. What? Where are the Lions now? They're sort of near the bottom of the league, aren't they?
The Lions are sitting. No, they're actually sitting 7th. They're in the playoff positions.
Okay.
Yeah. Ospreys are sitting 9th. So there's actually quite a few crucial matchups this week in terms of what they, the team that wins is going to get a nice push towards the playoffs, whereas the team that loses is
I think for the good of Wales, Ospreys really need to be doing well, don't they? Like Welsh rugby is in turmoil from a club perspective. I think that we've looked at a couple of liquidation situations. I think with some of the teams,
the Ospreys probably won't exist in 2 years' time. It looks like
it's very bad, isn't it?
Yeah, it's shocking, to be honest, what they've done to them. But it's beginning to look pretty likely it's going to be the Ospreys that probably won't exist in the 27-28 season. It looks like they're going to be gone.
Yeah, I think it's bankruptcy we're looking at, isn't it? With no injection of new owners.
Yeah, they don't have an owner, yeah. And they don't own a stadium, which is a bit of a problem for them as well. They've rented for a long time, and the other teams own their stadiums. I think that's been a black mark for them.
Because if you wanted to save any of them, you'd save them over the other teams, wouldn't you?
I agree. Yeah, they're the most successful team.
Like the Dragons, you could get rid of them.
Yeah, it's
tomorrow.
The geography they want.
I'm just laughing there because he hasn't been on the show for a few years, but it was Jules, I think it was, used to come on, and he was a Dragons fan. And Shane, we always used to get, all of my guests always used to get stuck into the Dragons. This poor oak. And he probably, imagine he decided tonight, hey, let me just tune in there to that show that I haven't tuned in. And he just hears we can get rid of the Dragons. The poor guy will be absolutely devastated. But I'm going to come back to you guys for best bets, but I know there is other rugby on this weekend as well. Connor, what do you fancy elsewhere? I know I see Farid has posted a premiership bet. Are you fancy anything else over the weekend?
In that game, I wouldn't say it's a full strength team. I think they're missing a couple in the back row, and it's not a full strength front row. I think. I think the points line is as 59. Those games are usually. I think funny enough, the weather's actually okay in Gloucester. I think.
Okay.
I'll double check that. 59. I think maybe a point or two shy, but not much. And then the rest of the games, I'd have a look out for the Bristol team sheet because I think Pat Lam may have hinted that they might rest after they've been pretty intense. And they're playing Exeter, who've been great at home. And then the other game, I'd have a look at Northampton away against Sale. I think they're plus 4.5. I'd have that closer to a choice myself, but the only game we have teams for is the Bath Gloucester game.
Did you discuss Munster Dragons? I just had a look at the line here on Bet365.
Yes, I'll bring that one up for you. Yeah, that's 17.5.
Yeah, what you make of that, guys? Is that about right, or?
I think the Dragons, but that's the smallest play I have.
Oh, you're doing it like a half unit on the Dragons plus.
Yeah, or Munster unders, because I think the unders, as Brent was saying, 32, and I mean they've looked shit. I think 32 is a bit much for them. Like it's not a full strength Munster either.
Yeah. And isn't Porter's on the long-term injury with Ty Byrne? They're out at the start.
They're not playing. Yeah, it's because of rest for. I don't know if it's Six Nations rest or that they've played too many games, but they're not playing anyway. They're not, but he's not injured though, Ty Byrne.
Oh, okay. Right.
And then anything else for you, Shane, on the weekend, even if it's a cricket bet?
Let me see. What do we have? I think maybe back Man United on the Asian handicap against Arsenal. It's the matches in Old Trafford, I think. Or
so I don't actually know.
I
think they played so many games. They played like about 10 games in 8 days or so. The top Premier League teams. Whereas, and I think with the afterfall of sort of playing midweek Champions League, I think possibly Man United could get a draw at the Emirates. and just to keep the league alive. Because I think if City lose again and it goes to the gap goes to 9, I say it's done. It's pretty.
Yeah, no, they should be about 13, 14 to 10 on the plus half a goal there on the handicap.
I'm generally saving my powder for the Six Nations now. I'll do a good bit of sort of research. I think without sort of opening the crystal ball, I think last season there was more unders on the totals and the plus side came out overall.
In the Six Nations. Well, Connor, I know Connor can come in there because Connor, I remember last year's Six Nations, you took quite a few like long-term bets on the points or teams' total tries and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I think you did okay there. Was that the trend? Was it lower? Was it lower last year?
Yeah, I think I had unders on Ireland, and I can't remember the other ones. Yeah, I've had some of those markets have opened recently, not the points ones, but like some of the sort of exotic markets. I've been having a look at them. And I do have. I mean, we can do it now if you want. I have a few fancies, but I have.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it. We got time, and there's a quick show tonight.
My favorite one was they have the which team will score the most points, and that they have France at 9 to 10. I would make them shorter than 9 to 10. They have the right. Okay, Italy and Wales will not have the most points. We can agree on that. So we'll give them a 0% chance. We'll give Scotland a 1% chance to be nice. It's between Ireland, France, and in England, and I mean Ireland. I would make a pretty long shot given how we've looked in attack.
Wait, what company is this, Adam?
It's definitely Bet365. It's in a couple other places. QuinBet if you have that in Ireland. A couple others, and it'll be pretty widely available in the next couple of days, I think.
I didn't know that the Cavan Mafia have it up. That's
tight bastards. Finally open something up.
Fantastic.
I see we got it in South Africa here at Bet Exchange. Yeah. It's not quite 9 to 10, but it's not far away. It's 17 to 20 at 1.85.
That's it. Yes.
So I agree with you. That looks a very good bet.
I think you're right because they're like 4 to 7 outright to win it, aren't they, France?
Yeah. And I mean, their big rival is England. Let's be honest. I mean, as much as I'd like to say it's us, it's not. But England have 2 away. England have 2 home games, and France have 3. And one of France's away games is against Wales, and they'll probably still rack up 40 points in Cardiff, anyways. So yeah, I'd have made them closer to 1 to 2, 1.5.
And did you check up the price on Ramos top point scorer?
Not out yet. I'm looking for. He's won the last 3, I think. He's been top point scorer in the last 3 tournaments.
Yeah, you're not going to get better than 6 to 4 on that, I'd say.
No, but yeah,
probably less.
Yeah.
Anything
else you fancy there, Connor? Then on the long term market, I really like that. By the way, I think that's a cracking bet.
The other one, there's lots of ones like who's going to finish last or who's going to lose, who's going to have to win spin, whatever. But they give you the finishing positions, which is kind of the same idea. And you can get, if you can get, say, Italy or Wales to finish last at evens or something like that, but you can get Italy to finish 5th at 2.5. I make them favourites. So it's Italy and Wales will obviously be the bottom 2 or more than likely. I make Italy favourites even in Cardiff. And I also give Italy a pretty good chance week 1 against Scotland, a better chance than Wales have against Scotland. And Italy are just a better team. I think they're more likely to pick up a losing bonus point or a try bonus point, which could make the difference. But yeah, I mean, the main reason is I have Italy as 3 or 4 point favourites in Cardiff. So you're essentially giving me 2.5 on Italy to beat Wales. There's obviously more.
There's a few little other things that can crop in, but
essentially that's what you're getting.
It would stand to tally really with the Welsh rugby in decline massively.
Yeah,
that they're sort of like an unfixable situation right now.
Yeah,
so
and
they really should be finishing bottom, shouldn't they? And then if Italy are ascending, you say fractionally, that should get you home.
Yeah, and sure, Italy, they beat Australia in the autumn. They gave South Africa, I know South Africa had red cards and it was a bit of a weird game, but they gave South Africa a pretty good go. I'd say that. Not many teams, like South Africa I don't know if they were rattled, but
they were rattled at one point, I think.
Yeah, they weren't comfortable until the 70 or 75th minute. And I know Wales didn't have a full string team out, but they did lose, I think, 73-0 to South Africa.
By the way, Brent, I'm still collecting. I'm collecting more South African autographs for you. So when I get the sheet full, I will send it down to the address at the bottom of Good for the Game. So we only have Razzie at the moment, but I know they stay up in the Radisson, up the jeweler.
Yeah,
and they will be there because they're playing next June, I think, in Dublin.
Yeah, and that weird nations thing or whatever they call it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. So, I haven't got my head around that yet, to be honest.
Me neither.
Need to figure that
There'll
one
be
out.
more, plenty of other occasions to meet the Boks. So I don't see them changing the routine at all now. I think they've stayed in the same hotel with the same college pitches to train on, which is around the corner.
They were training literally 200 meters away from where I am at the moment. We were having a look at them. We were sort of they sort of fenced it all off, but we climbed over the fences and we were saying hello to them anyway during their training session.
Yeah, you were sort of trying to get in running prices, were you, on the injuries and stuff?
Yeah.
The two of you are probably 50 meters apart from each other doing the same thing.
No, I'm in Milltown, Dublin 6, so
Okay.
Yeah, it's not far from you. You're up the road. Yeah. But no, it's great. We are literally about 20 minutes walk from Leinster's ground and training, which you will be even closer.
Yeah.
And but no, I just think this weekend is very tricky. I think in the URC overall, I think small stakes would be advised. But
anything best bet material for you then, Shane, this weekend? You're allowed to defer on this one.
I think I will. I know my record is 1 from 1, which was New Zealand to cover the handicap against Ireland in America on my debut, on my only one and only debut. So I will
you only debut once. You do know that, eh?
So no, I won't give. I won't just stick something out for the sake of it this weekend. No, I'll let you guys take over on that one.
Well, before I bring Connor in there, Jan with his weekly treble, Sharks plus 10.5, Edinburgh plus 1.5, Ospreys minus 3.5. And I don't think, Connor, you're not going to argue with that one, are you? I mean, those are all three bets that you're sort of leaning towards, although I'm not sure which of those would be your stronger fancy.
Yeah, I don't have a huge one this week. I'll say of the games we have teams for, my favorite is the Ospreys. And then of the games we don't have teams for, if I'm sort of guessing a little bit, I think the Scarlets could be a pretty good price. I think Zebre might be a good price, because I do think we're going to see a pretty bad Glasgow team. And I wouldn't be surprised if Leinster are 10 points down, after 50 minutes, and you get evens on Leinster. And I think at any stage, if you're getting evens on Leinster, unless it's looking really bad, I think you should probably take that, because they've in general, but they have managed to dig out their dirty old wins this year. And then the Prem.
That's how you see the game playing out. You think Connacht will take the game in the first half to them, and
I just don't know what Leinster team.
What's the big factor is the wind. Isn't usually the wind a huge factor, and whoever has the advantage in the first half can dictate the terms. That's another thing you won't know until the game starts. But.
Yeah, and it's just hard to know until we see a Leinster team. Like if we see the Avengers, like the full Irish team, then the gap will come out a little bit. I would almost say if there's a full team announced and it goes out to like 11 or 12, I'd actually take Connacht there, because they've shown again and again that they are just not capable of putting teams away at all. Especially
no, they're not the Lockbet they were 10 years ago at all. Those days are gone. It's a transitional kind of team now, really, isn't it? It's with the young fella, what's his name escapes me, the 10. I can't think of it. Yes, sorry, yeah. But no, you can't rely on them anymore. Like they, God knows how they beat La Rochelle, but they did, you know.
God knows is right. With a bit of help from La Rochelle, I think.
I backed La Rochelle on Betfair on the exchange, and thank God it was the exchange. I managed to take my money back before the end. You know, I got matched like at 1.35 or something, you know, to lay to get. So someone wanted to take 1-3 outright.
It's ballsy.
Yeah, and then but their luck will run out this season, I'd say. You know, they you can't play like Liverpool and expect to win all the time.
Yeah.
So,
anyway, gents, that brings us to the end of the show. Shane, thanks very much for popping in.
No
Appreciate
worries.
it. I just had a look at my WhatsApp. I see, hey, Oracle's actually recording an audio at the moment. I get to see on my WhatsApp he's recording an audio. So I'm sure he'll be back soon, but it was great having you. And Connor, lacquer to see you. I shouldn't say lacquer because you probably know what I mean, but it means nice to see you. Good to see you, and wishing you both all the best punting-wise in 2026. And we'll see you on the show over the next few weeks and months, no doubt about that.
I'll drag up a couple of Excel sheets and I'll either email them to you and you can use them for the shows coming up for the Six Nations, and may sort of dig out something.
That'll be great, man. Thanks, guys. Thanks very much, eh?
All
Cheers,
right.
and thanks to the boys in the live chat. I know the first show of the year is always a bit of a slow one because people don't know it's back, but we are back. That's 100% for sure. And we've got Six Nations and even a bit of Super Rugby around the corner. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next week, Thursday, for the handicap rugby chat that matters.